My name is Daniel, and before that night, I believed my family was everything. We owned a successful construction company founded by my grandfather decades earlier. My father managed the business, while my older brother, Michael, oversaw the finances. I worked in the field, meeting clients, supervising projects, and resolving problems no one else wanted to handle. I never imagined that my own family would eventually make me their greatest liability. It began when money started disappearing from the company accounts. At first, the transfers were small. Then larger payments began going to companies I had never heard of. I noticed them because I was helping prepare documents for an important project. When I asked Michael about the transfers, he became defensive. He told me I did not understand the financial side of the business. I believed him. That was my first mistake. A few weeks later, one of our largest clients accused the company of fraud. Investigators soon arrived at our offices. Everyone appeared confused except my family. That evening, my father called me into his office. He told me someone had used my name and signature to authorize several suspicious transactions. I laughed because I thought he was joking. Then he placed the documents in front of me. The signature looked like mine, but I had never signed those papers. I tried to explain that someone had forged my signature. My father simply stared at me. My brother said the evidence was already pointing toward me. Within days, the police began questioning me. I expected my family to defend me. Instead, they handed the police everything they had: emails, documents, financial records, even a recording of a conversation that had been edited to make me sound guilty. The trial became a nightmare. The prosecution presented a convincing narrative. I had access to the company accounts. I had supposedly authorized the transfers. I had allegedly argued with my brother about money, but the truth was entirely different. I was being framed. Even so, the evidence was enough. The judge sentenced me to 9 years in prison. I remember looking at my parents after the sentence. My mother was crying. For one moment, I thought she was finally going to tell the truth. She never did. My father lowered his head. My brother refused to look at me. As the guards took me away, I shouted that I was innocent. Nobody followed me. Nobody stopped them. Nobody fought for me. That moment changed me forever. Prison taught me something I never wanted to learn. People can survive almost anything when they have a reason to keep going. For 9 years, I studied everything I could. I learned about business records. I learned how financial fraud investigations worked. I learned how evidence could be manipulated. Most importantly, I learned patience. I stopped dreaming about revenge. I started dreaming about the truth. Then, after 9 years, I walked out. I had almost nothing. One small bag, a few documents, and a phone number written on an old piece of paper. It belonged to a former employee of my family's company. His name was Robert. I found him working at a small repair shop. When he saw me, his expression changed. He did not say hello. He asked only one question. "Did they ever tell you what happened to the missing money?" I said no. Robert looked around the room and quietly told me something that changed everything. Years earlier, he had discovered that the money had not been stolen by me. It had been moved through several shell companies controlled by Michael. Robert had reported it to my father. Instead of investigating Michael, my father had ordered him to remain silent. Robert had kept copies of the original accounting files. He had hidden them because he was afraid. 9 years later, he finally gave them to me. I spent weeks comparing those files with the evidence used against me. The truth became undeniable. The original records showed transactions that had never appeared at trial. My signature had been forged, emails had been altered, and the money had ultimately moved into accounts connected to my brother. But there was something even worse. My father knew. He had known from the beginning. They had sacrificed me to protect the family business. They believed sending me away would preserve their empire. They were wrong. I did not confront them immediately. I waited. I started a small company of my own and quietly rebuilt my life. Then I contacted former employees and clients who had left my family's business over the years. One by one, people began to talk. Some had been threatened. Some had been forced to sign false documents. Others had simply been afraid. The pieces finally formed a complete picture. For years, my family had concealed financial problems by moving money between companies and blaming others whenever something went wrong. And I had been their perfect scapegoat. The day I finally returned to my family home, my father looked at me as if he were seeing a ghost. My mother began to cry. My brother froze. I placed a folder on the dining table. I told them I was not there to argue. I was there to give them one opportunity, tell the truth. My father refused. Michael laughed. He told me no one would believe a convicted criminal. That was when I opened the folder. I showed them the original financial records, then the messages, then the testimony from former employees. Finally, I showed them evidence proving that my signature had been forged. My brother stopped smiling. My father fell silent. My mother covered her face. I told them the most painful part was not losing 9 years. It was realizing that the people I loved had willingly given those years away. The investigation that followed changed everything. The company lost major contracts. Financial records were seized. People who had remained silent for years finally spoke. Michael was forced to answer questions about the missing money. My father could no longer protect him, and the family empire they had sacrificed me to preserve collapsed anyway. But I did not celebrate. Revenge could never return the years I had lost. Nothing could. What I gained was something different: the truth and the freedom to build a life that did not depend on people who had betrayed me. Months later, I received a letter from my mother. She apologized. She said she had been afraid. She said she regretted not speaking up. I read the letter once, then I put it away. I did not hate her, but forgiveness did not mean allowing the past to control my future. I had spent 9 years behind walls because my family wanted to protect their empire. In the end, the empire disappeared, but I walked away. For the first time in my life, I understood something. Sometimes the greatest revenge is not destroying the people who hurt you. Sometimes it is surviving them. 9 years were stolen from me, but they could not steal the person I became. My family thought prison would silence me forever. They believed I would return broken and powerless. Instead, I returned with patience, evidence, and the courage to uncover the truth. Their empire was built on lies, and eventually, those lies destroyed it. I did not get my 9 years back, but I gained something more important. I reclaimed my name. I reclaimed my freedom. And I learned that the people who betray you may control your past, but they do not have to control your future.